Well, thank you. And thank you, Premier, for your leadership, your steadfastness, the fact that, you know, as you've told us, we have this inherent right to live safely in our communities all over Ontario, and it is an honor, sir, every day to serve and to amplify and to echo your voice of public safety because it matters. And good morning, and it's a great privilege to be here today. It's an honor to be here alongside Premier Ford and our great Deputy Solicitor General, Mario Di Tommaso, and the amazing people that work at the Ministry of the Solicitor General to reiterate our government's commitment to public safety. To have all of you here in the same room as we inch closer to the CSPA in-force date is a tremendous accomplishment. And I know it has been an exciting road to travel with you. And on April the 1st, 2024, we will officially be bringing the Community Safety and Policing Act into force. And this is a major step forward for the future of policing in Ontario. And I want to thank, as the Premier did, a number of people who helped us on this journey. Patrick Weaver and Lisa Darling, and Chief Jim McSween, and Dan DePatti, and my friend Mark Baxter, and so many others who are here at this summit. There's nothing more important to me than helping you and the Premier uphold public safety. But I'd also like to thank the individual officers and chiefs and board members and community leaders and members of the association for your advocacy in supporting the development of the CSPA. And the Premier is right. I start my calls very early. Premier, I originally started at 7 a.m., but I realized I couldn't get them all done, so I moved it to 6. And nobody has not yet picked up the telephone. It's because of your support and contributions to the CSPA that we'll have this positive impact on policing for decades to come. And I know we've landed in a great place. As many of you in this room know, I take my role as Solicitor General very, very seriously. It's been an amazing and unbelievable privilege to get to know so many of the 700 that are in the room today. Finalizing this legislation will go down as one of my proudest moments. And yet it took time, and it took commitment, it took advocacy, and it took resolution to get where we are today. The stakeholders in this room were absolutely critical to getting us where we are today. You know, it was just about a year ago, Premier, I was in Thunder Bay. I was attending a conference, and somebody asked me, when is this going to happen? And I said, I'll get it done. I'll get it done with the Premier's encouragement, with the Premier's support in about a year. And April 1 is coming up. It's an honor to recognize those who've stepped up to support this incredible effort. The CSPA represents a new era in policing in Ontario, and I want to share just a few examples. First, the new Inspectorate of Policing is the first of its kind in Canada. This model will promote enhancements to the policing sector and monitor police service and police board performance. And for the first time in the province's history, First Nations police services and boards will be empowered to opt in to the new policing legislative framework. I want to acknowledge so many police chiefs that are here, especially from the First Nations police services, and also to the IPCO Executive Director, my friend, Chief Kailu. We will further enable First Nations police services to deliver sustainable, adequate, and culturally responsive policing to the communities they serve. And I'd like to give you a little insight on a few important topics that you will be discussing today and tomorrow. As you know, the CSPA includes the Adequate and Effective Policing Regulation. This regulation sets a minimum standard of policing in the province of Ontario. And it will also be a critical step for governing success within the sector. And the Inspector General will ensure we're promoting compliance and adequate and effective policing. The end goal is to drive improvements in policing, full stop. There will also be changes on how police service boards are able to govern. Police service boards are integral to the effective governance. The CSPA will include mandatory training for board members to ensure they know the expectations and the standards and have the resources to be good governors. Boards will continue to be responsible for hiring strong chiefs to lead the operations. They'll be responsible for collective bargaining and ensuring positive relationships with the members and establishing good policy and providing adequate and effective policing in their communities. But this new change will ensure that all board members, current and future, are prepared for these tasks. But our efforts go even further because times have changed. With more and more illegal guns being brought over the border, you're all now facing semi-automatic and automatic weapons so much more often. And you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. The Premier said it. We will always have the backs of everyone that keeps the province safe. And that's why the CSPA contains new requirements that will help regulate police services when responding to these incidents. These changes will give you access to specialized equipment such as semi-automatic rifles, battering rams, and heavy-duty body armor. And all of these tools are being implemented to help ensure that you all come home safely at night. The CSPA is also reforming Ontario's police disciplinary framework. Under the Outgoing Police Services Act, that's almost 35 years old, a chief chooses the prosecutor and hearing officer to conduct a disciplinary hearing. Often it is a senior police officer. And you may recall that Justice Michael Tulloch described this as not meeting the appearance of a fairness test. And that's why we're enhancing the integrity of the disciplinary process. The Ontario Police Arbitration Commission will be renamed the Ontario Police Arbitration and Adjudication Commission, also referred to as OPAC. And OPAC will appoint independent adjudicators to a hearing. This change will give officers and the public greater confidence in the hearing process. The Community Safety and Policing Act is critical because it builds a framework for generational change in policing that will establish a new standard in Ontario. In doing this, as Premier Ford has said, we're getting more officers into the community faster. We're getting more officers to the Ontario Police College. And it is an honor and a privilege to march past the newest graduates that we will soon have, Paul Hebert, on March the 15th. Our message is clear. If you answer your calling to become a police officer in Ontario, we will be with you every step of the way. The community safety and the safety of all of you in this room will always be a top priority for Premier Ford's government. The CSPA will promote effective, independent, and unbiased governance in policing, and it will promote public confidence in police officers through a robust and independent police disciplinary process and oversight model. It will ensure that police have the skills and the training and the education necessary to perform their duties. And I've worked hard towards the continuous engagement with police associations and services and boards across Ontario. And in closing, I want to thank you for being here today and for your continued cooperation throughout this process. For me, it has been life-changing, not only to call so many people early in the morning and to travel the province and stop that car in as many police services as I can. I listen and I learn and I report back to Premier Ford all of the things that have happened that day. But public safety is important, and I'll tell you why. And I've said this before. With public safety, which is our inherent right, we have absolutely everything. We can wake up our loved ones and kids in the morning and see them off safely. We can know that our parents and our seniors are in their homes safely. We can go to work. We can shop. We can play in the park. and we can pray safely. This is irreplaceable. I want to thank you so much for continuously meeting with my staff to ensure that your perspectives were heard. And again, give a shout out to our Deputy Solicitor General, Mario Di Tommaso, and his team at the ministry. This summit is a big part of understanding the opportunities that lie ahead to help keep Ontario safe. You all have my gratitude and support for the guidance you gave us that has resulted in bringing this CSPA into fruition. And I want to give one more shout out because her name has not been mentioned yet today. Deputy Premier Sylvia Jones, my immediate predecessor, was a person who believed that the CSPA would be the next iteration to replace a piece of legislation 35 years old. She did it with amazing commitment, and she did it while COVID was there. She did it while she was working with the Premier during a pandemic to help keep Ontario safe. Deputy Premier Sylvia Jones's leadership has been irreplaceable to get us here today, and I want to say thank you to her. As we move forward and as we enter the final days between now and April 1st, I can't say enough appreciated words to thank everybody in this room, not only for the confidence and the mentorship and the help they have given me as Solicitor General, help that I value and friendship that I admire and respect. But this is transformational. April 1 is around the corner. Our commitment to you will always be absolute and constant. It is a privilege to be here today. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.